Welcome to this edition of Cibola Treasures. This edition will feature so many exciting things that are happening here in Grants, so stay tuned. The American Legion was the host of a military convoy. This convoy consisted of World War I vehicles. Some have been restored. All of them were, it's just amazing. You've got to see this. Just a phenomenal event took place at the American Legion. And then there were some volunteers at the Grants Community Pantry. The Boy Scouts came in and did a phenomenal job, restored some things, painted things, just did a full day's work plus to enhance the Grants Community Pantry. And while we're on that topic, the pantry needs your support. So if you need to make contributions before the end of the year, this is the time to do it. Also, we visited the Grants Milan Airport. I love airplanes, and we went out to the airport to see the new things that are happening out there. This airport goes back decades. Decades. And the things that are happening there are phenomenal. Hopefully, there will be another grand opening for the Grants Milan Airport soon. And then Les Gaines is going to talk to us about some things that are happening in the Zuni Mountains. That the Zuni Mountain Trail project is finally coming to fruition, and then some other things that are happening here in Grants. So stay tuned.
Warrior Pegboard will transform your workshop or garage to a clean, uncluttered space. Warrior Pegboard is the strongest pegboard in the world. Holds up to 2,500 pounds on a single panel. The hooks will not fall out. What you will need: select the size, anchor to a stud, admire your handiwork. Warrior Pegboard's strong, sparkling appearance was designed by a veteran. Each piece of your Warrior Pegboard system is made in America. For sizes, prices, and shipping information, just select Warrior Pegboard at Amazon.com, Walmart.com, Jet.com, or DiscountRamps.com. For wholesale, military, and government sales, contact John Wesley.
Hello, my name is Manny Vasquez, and I'm here with Que Pasa in the Grants, New Mexico. And today we are at the Grants Milan Airport, and then we got Ray Jenkins here with us at the airport. Ray, thank you for coming with us. Let us know about the airport, what's happening here. I know you're the new manager for how long?
Oh, I've been the manager about 2 years, and I filled in for about 6 months, 8 months before that until they found somebody. They found me.
Well, thank God they found you, because you've done wonders with this area and on the airport and the building and everything else. It looks great.
Well, I've been here for 25 years. I've been flying since a long time ago.
We won't say how long.
And This is a great facility. I'm impressed with it. I'm impressed with the contractor we have here, Mountain States. They have done just an outstanding job in the work they're doing, very professional. Laura Jaramillo, our city manager, has been very instrumental in the work that's been done in our it's newly redecorated terminal building. And so I have a lot to say about them and the future for Grants with the airport being modernized.
You've done a great job. Now, this afternoon you said we're talking to the Mountain States?
Mountain States Constructors, and this is James Houston. He is the superintendent of the job here.
James, glad to meet you.
My pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for coming out and doing this great work that you're doing. Can you give us a little bit of a detail of what's going on here?
Well, we've basically came in and reconditioned the whole runway. We had quite a few issues with a lot of mud underneath the old runway. We have dried it all back out, reconditioned it, base course. Now we're paving, and looks like we're still going to meet the schedule. So looks like everything's going along good.
So at this time, what is the schedule?
We had 90 days to get it done, and it looks like we're going to meet it, either meet it or we'll beat it by about 10 days is what we're looking at.
That's great for us, because we always hear, well, we're going to delay it for another month.
Yeah.
But you've had some great weather this time.
Well, we had a little bit of bad weather there for a week or so, but we've got it dried back out and everything's starting to take shape, so should be good.
So right now, what process are you doing right now? I know that I've seen some machines out there. Give us an idea of what's happening.
Right now, we're working subgrade on the final 1,400 feet on the end. We're doing base course in the middle, and we're paving down here on this end. And Mountain States is well known for doing several actions all at one time, and that's what we do. We get in, we get a job done, and we get out of here so these people can get back to flying and enjoying their lives. So like I said, we're doing the subgrade down on that end. We'll have it finished probably tomorrow morning, start hauling base course in on top of it. Paving crew will continue paving, and we'll get everything covered up to where we're at with the base course right now. By Friday, we'll work through the weekend. We're going to work straight through until we get this thing covered with the first mat.
That's great. Now, what are our chances of asking our manager, our airport manager, if you guys might be able to take us out on a cruise out there?
I'm sure he'll be more than glad to let you go out there and look around.
So are we ready to do this?
We're ready. Let me put one, you can see something here, but they are paving it state of the art. It's called total
stationing.
Total stationing. They can lay that asphalt down within 1/100th of an inch of accuracy all the way down that runway. And they are laying it on our consulting firm. The engineers were working at another airport in the state, and they couldn't lay 800 tons of asphalt down, and Mountain States can put down about 2,500?
We did 1,500 yesterday and didn't get started till noon. So today we're looking at close to 2,000 tons today.
2,000 tons today.
Yeah.
Let's go out there and see what 2,000 tons are.
You got it.
Well, James, we're here at the airport, and we have a lot of machinery back there. What we'd like to know is, where are you guys getting your asphalt to do this? How many trucks are you running for asphalt?
Well, luckily on this job we were able to set up our own hot plant back behind us, and it only takes like 4 trucks instead of 35 trucks if we had to haul it from a long distance, which some jobs we do. Luckily we've only had 4 trucks hauling that amount of hot mix. Like I said earlier, we'll get close to 2,000 tons or a little over today. Weather being as cold as it is in the morning, we have a spec that we have to stick to at 45 and rising. The ground temperature has to be 45. So in the mornings it's real cold. We're not able to get started till 9-10 o'clock. With that being said, we're able to get down that many tons in an 8-hour day. There's a lot of companies can't get down 800 tons in that amount of time. So fortunately, we have our own hot plant. We're set up right here close. The trucks are close. And like Ray said a while ago, this total stationing that allows us to pave this smoother and more accurate than the old-fashioned way of just free-handing it and going by numbers on the ground. Back behind us I have total stationing. It's a robot, and it follows the machine and keeps that machine at the elevation that we give it. On an airport, a lot of people don't understand, you have to meet a special elevation to within 100th. So it's pretty accurate. And I mean, Ray's been great with us. He's a real stickler on being precise with everything. He wants the edges nice and straight. He wants, and I don't blame him. I mean, he's got a nice airport here and he wants a nice product. So Mountain States is just here to give them the best product that we can give them. And with all this new equipment, that's what we plan on giving him.
Well, tell us more about that equipment that you have up there. I see all this equipment going out there, and the gentleman working behind there, what are they doing?
The gentlemen behind that are over there right now, that is a lay-down machine, and the machine that's in front of it is called a shuttle buggy. The shuttle buggy picks up the load and stores it inside of it and keeps it warm. That shuttle buggy can hold a load and a half inside of its containment. So each load that's dumped, we're throwing fresh mix, and it mixes all the mix together, so there's no segregation. Segregating mean where there's real rocky areas or real fine areas with just oil in it. This machine mixes it all together at all times and keeps it consistently mixed together, keeps it nice and hot. You don't lose your temperature as fast as just dumping it on the ground and picking it up. So there's many things that go on with a lay-down machine. The lay-down machine is one of the newest ones that I think we just bought it this year. It's a 2017. So it has all the new electronics and everything on it. The guys behind it are really, with all this new technology, they don't have to do a whole lot, but just make sure that the electronics are doing what they're doing. I have one gentleman with a called a rover, and he walks behind and makes sure that we're staying at that elevation. If anything changes, he tells the foreman that's behind there, and he adjusts it on the electronics. So we've taken a lot of work away from the men. There's not as much shoveling, not as much raking. I'm really enjoying all this modern technology, really.
You know, if we were way back when, you would be walking right next to them, right, with the heat and everything else?
Right there with a shovel and a rake with them.
And your boots would be full of asphalt, right?
Yes, sir.
So things have changed.
Yes, they have.
Well, Ray, what do you think of all this that's going on at your airport?
Well, it's one of the greatest things I've seen. I've been in the business a long time, but this is the first time I've been up close on a runway paving job. I've been very impressed. One thing that the public might not be aware of, which I think is fascinating, I lived in Virginia for years, and the Washington National Airport has a shorter runway than the runway here in Grants, because it's the Washington National Airport's at sea level, where it's 6,500 feet sea level, so you need more runway. So we have a longer runway than Washington National Airport. It's just a few feet, but
that makes you proud of saying we have a longer runway, right?
That's right. That's right. We bring in some good-sized corporate jets come in here, which is a real plus for our community. Our community's lifeblood is transportation, and for a corporation to come here, they're paying somebody $1,500 an hour for their brain power. And they don't want them sitting around in an office or a waiting room. They want to get them onto the job, get the job done, get them home fast, to utilize their time. And that's why this airport is such a lifeblood to our community. People look at, a good example is Tri-State Electric. They're in here about 2 times or 3 times, sometimes 4 times a month, taking care of the power plant up the road. They couldn't do that if they didn't have an airport. And so it's very important for our community.
So what is the biggest plane that can be flown in here?
Well, in the past we've had them up into the Gulfstream, which is it's a big airplane. It's about the size of a DC-9 or one of the small Airbuses. But typically we'll have the small to medium-sized corporate jets and what's called a turboprop. It's a propeller airplane, but it has jet engines to run the propeller. And those are generally the largest we get.
Well, that's going to be a plus for our community then.
A very big plus,
Yes.
very big plus. That coupled with the remodeling of the terminal, it's really opened the gateway of our city.
Well, thanks, Ray. And anything else that you would like to add on this airport?
Well, I'd like to add more people out here. You know, somebody buy an airplane and come to my airport. But no, the city has been extremely proactive in working with us. And so as community members, you need to understand that the city council is very involved in making sure that the city of Grants is not just a dot on a map, but it is a real city. It's important. We've got infrastructure, we have businesses, we have workers. So and the city council's been very good at doing that.
Well, you know, we're all working for our community, and if we all work together, we will get a lot more things done in this area. And with this, I'd like to leave you. Thank you for staying with us at Que Pasa, and look for the next episode. Make sure you see us on Seven Cities Production. Thank you.
Hungry? It's El Cafecito. Red or green? Can't make up your mind? Then try the Christmas burrito at El Cafecito. Voted one of the top 10 burritos in the state of New Mexico, is just right. It's always the right time for your friends to gather and enjoy a fabulous breakfast. Get your chili fix for lunch at El Cafecito. Dinner is always special at El Cafecito. Remember to leave some room for dessert, too. You can count on El Cafecito for the best chili in Grants. Made fresh every day. Always fresh. In a hurry? Call 285-6229. The drive-up window will have your order in a jiffy. Make your business meeting, banquet, reception, and special occasion a success. El Cafecito has the perfect venue. Utilize the state-of-the-art electronics to create a professional presentation. El Cafecito is famous for the best New Mexican food in Grants and their friendly, fast service. El Cafecito, serving the Grants community for over 30 years. Located at 820 East Santa Fe Avenue.
Hi, we're at the Grants Community Pantry, and there is a young man here that is working on his Eagle Scout. And introduce yourself to our audience, Justin.
Hello, my name is Justin Sanders, and I'm working on my Eagle Scout project for the food pantry.
Okay, and so what are some of the things that you're doing here today?
What we're doing today is replacing some of the ceiling tiles, redoing some of the baseboard, and we're also painting some lines outside in the parking lot. And also what we're doing is we're putting volunteer posters up, and there also a banner with the food pantry logo on it.
Okay, so how did you decide to select the food pantry as your Eagle Scout project?
I decided it because I think that the food pantry needs the assistance more than any other facility in Grants.
Okay, and what do you think will be the result of your working here at the pantry this day?
I think that what the results will be that the food pantry will look nicer, and it'll be more welcoming to some of the people who come here.
Okay, and how long have you been in Scouts?
I've been in Scouts since the first grade, which was when I was 6.
Okay, and what are some of the things that you've learned as a result of being in Scouts?
I've learned to expect anything that might possibly happen. such as like something might go wrong, so we have to be prepared for that.
Okay. So that's one of the mottos, is be prepared, right?
Yes.
Now, what about organization? How do you organize a project?
We start with asking what we can do to help a certain place, and then if they accept, what we do then is we gather the materials for the project, and after that we decide on a date, and then we come and execute the project.
Okay, so how many badges do you have?
It's around like 40 or 50.
Okay, and what was the most exciting badge that you ever earned that meant so much to you?
The swimming merit badge, because I like swimming and it just felt fun to do what I like, and that there's a merit badge for it.
Okay, and you've learned some cooking skills?
Yes.
And what about hiking and camping?
Yes, I've learned a lot about hiking and camping by I learned what some of the nature is, and how it is to be out in the wild,
Okay.
compared to in a town.
Okay. So how important do you think it is to have adults involved in Scouts?
It is very important because they all help you stay focused on what you're trying to do in the Boy Scouts, and they all help you focus and keep on task with what you need to get done.
Okay. Now, your parents are involved in Scouting, aren't they?
Yes.
And how important has that been to you to have your parents involved in Scouting?
It has been very important, mainly because they're part of the reason why I'm even doing this project, and I thank them for everything that they've done to help me get this far.
Okay. Well, we're continuing our interview here at the Grants Community Pantry, and we have Patricia and Roger Sanders here, who have been involved in Scouts for how long, Patricia?
About 10 years or so.
Yeah.
10 years or so?
Yeah.
And Roger, what is your role with Scouting?
I'm an assistant to the Scoutmaster, so I help the kids, like any of our scouting trips, and I go to the meetings and stuff like that.
Okay, and Patricia, what do you do?
I just do what they tell me.
Okay.
However I can help, I try to do that.
Okay. So what do you see, Roger, as the benefit of someone involved in Scouts?
I think the benefits are that it teaches them to be prepared. It teaches them teamwork. It just teaches them, how to be a good citizen, how to help the people,
Okay.
all people.
Okay. Were you instrumental in helping your son select the Grants Community Pantry as his Eagle Scout project?
Yeah, we had kind of called around. He and I had called around, and this looked like the place to help out because of all the good that they do for the community.
Okay. And so we're here on a Saturday morning. It's a little cool this morning, but they're out there working here, not only in the building, but outside the building as well. And so I know that Karen Thiel is really excited about all the great things you're doing. So why don't you mention some of those things that you're doing here at the pantry, Roger?
Okay, great. So we're working on the outside of the building. We're striping lines. We're putting a handicap parking sign down. Inside the building, we're putting baseboard in that need to be replaced, ceiling tile that needs to be replaced, my wife had done some posters. We got some posters and a banner, and just anything we can to make it look nicer.
Okay. Well, we're here at the pantry, and if you want to come and help the pantry in any way, please feel free to do so. There's so many needs right here in our community, especially with the Grants Community Pantry. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Cibola Treasures.
Riverside Auto Diesel is the place to go for everything mechanical. Bicycles, motorcycles, RVs, cars, and semis too. Car a little sluggish? Riverside Auto Diesel can fix you up with routine oil changes and a tune-up. Then your car or truck will have superb engine performance. Tires for every truck or car are available at Riverside Auto Diesel. You'll experience the difference with the right tire for your vehicle. Transmissions need routine service. Don't get caught in the middle of nowhere with a transmission failure. A cool car is a pleasure to drive when the weather is not. An air conditioner leak can be repaired and you're off to an enjoyable summer. When your car breaks down or you have an unfortunate accident, Riverside Auto Diesel has road service and towing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Friendly, knowledgeable, ASE certified mechanics. Riverside Auto Diesel is New Mexico state approved. For all of your mechanical and automotive needs, see Keith Ford at Riverside Auto Diesel, located at 1433 East Old Historic Route 66. Call 287-3543 or 290-7459.
Welcome to this segment of Cibola Treasures. We're not in our studio today, we're out at the American Legion, and we have Lieutenant Dan McCluskey here, and we have this convoy that has come through our community. So the first thing is, Dan, where are you from?
From Simi Valley, California, leading this military vehicle convoy from Chicago to Santa Monica, California.
Wonderful. So you're headed west now.
Yes, we are. We are in day 19 of our 29-day trip. So we have 10 more days after this.
Okay. Now, what is it that we have? We're going to go out and we're going to see some of these vintage vehicles, but why are we doing this?
This is the Military Vehicle Preservation Association. We're a nonprofit organization. And our whole mission in life is essentially to preserve and protect all of these military vehicles that have supported our military all the way from World War I all the way up to modern day. And we do it a little differently. Most people, they preserve, they restore these vehicles, and they put it on a pedestal. They put it in a museum, and that's not what we're all about. That's not how these vehicles were used. They were driven every day of the week. They hauled men, material across the United States, across the world, and that's what we're out here to show people is how these vehicles were used. We're doing 100 to 150 miles a day, every day, on the way from Chicago to Santa Monica.
Okay, so how many mechanical failures have you experienced on this trip?
Well, it's a daily occurrence. Some of these vehicles are 60, 70 years old. We usually have 3 to 4 vehicles go down for one reason or another during the day. We have a recovery group that follows the convoy, and their mission is to pick up all of the vehicles that are broken. We put them on trailers, and then we keep going. The convoy never stops. Recovery unit takes care of that, and then when we get in at the end of the day, those vehicles are repaired, back on the road the next day.
Okay, so you've got a really great system in place. Now, are most of your volunteers from California?
No, we're actually from all over the world. There's probably 10 or 15 of us from California. We've got Michigan, we've got Minnesota. We even have members, we got 6 people from New Zealand that have come over here, and they've done previous convoys with us. This is our 4th convoy that the MVPA has done. We also have a guy from France that flew over to join us in the convoy.
Well, you know, our county is not a stranger to New Zealand. We have a little community, the acronym is ANZAC.
Okay.
And it stands for
Australia, New Zealand
Air Corps.
Yep.
And they had a bombing field right out here.
So they had a training base here.
That's right, they did. And it's on one of the reservations today. And people in our community, they just call it ANZAC, not realizing what it really stands for.
Oh, wow.
So those from
New Zealand
and Australia were here during World War II.
Oh, very good.
So, okay, so tomorrow you said you're going to go 150 miles. That's beyond Albuquerque. So where's your next stop?
Oh, we're heading west.
I'm sorry, west.
Yes, so we're heading to Gallup today.
Okay.
And we'll be rolling in there about 3:30, 4 o'clock into Gallup, and we spend the night there. Next day we get up and we're heading to Winslow. So we'll all be standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona tomorrow afternoon.
Good for you. Well, that's a neat community too.
Yeah.
They've got a great hotel there, an historical hotel, and the train came through. It doesn't face the street or the highway, it faces the train.
Ah, that's
so
great.
You need to go. It's been restored. It's a beautiful, beautiful hotel. So you're getting to see some of the history of the country too as you're traveling.
Oh yes, we are. We visited a lot of places. We're going to be spending 3 days in Williams. So that's going to give us a chance to visit the Grand Canyon. And a lot of the people that are on the convoy have never been out to the West Coast. So this is a real good opportunity for them to see that part of our beautiful country.
And Williams is a friendly town.
Yes, it is.
They are phenomenal there. It's a small little community, but they put out the red carpet for every tourist that comes through.
Yes, they do. And we'll be some of them.
That's right, you will be. So you've mentioned doing this after you get to, you said Santa Monica?
Yes.
That's a pier there, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
you're going to Santa Monica. So what are you going to do with these vehicles once you get them there?
Well, it's quite a difference of opinion on what's going to happen. Once we finish, we have our last supper in San Pedro at Fort MacArthur National Park. And then on Sunday, everybody disbands. We have groups of them that are going to be convoying back to Texas. We've got another group heading to Florida. We've got another group heading up to the upper Midwest. And some people are having their vehicles shipped back. So that most of these vehicles will be driven or trailered back to wherever they came from.
So these are privately owned?
All of these are privately owned vehicles. We pay for all of our own expenses unless we have the generosity of someplace like the American Legion here in Grants to provide us with a lunch. So we're fueling up our vehicles every day. We're paying for all the repairs that have to be done on the road, paying for accommodations for the whole convoy.
Wonderful. So how did you get interested in doing this?
Well, I've been a military vehicle collector ever since I was a little boy. My dad bought his first Jeep when I was 6 years old, and he still has that Jeep. He's 90 years old today, and it's restored. He was on us on our Alcan convoy. He drove that Jeep to Alaska and back, 4,000 miles at age 86. So I have a real big history in military vehicles, and when these first convoys came out in 2009, it was just a natural. This was the next place to go for me on convoys.
Okay. Well, what would you like to tell our audience in closing?
Well, the whole reason that we're out here to celebrate the military, to show people that there's pride in the military, that we're out here celebrating all of that. And what we're getting in return is the communities coming out. We got schools that have emptied out onto the streets to welcome us as we come in. We've gone through veterans' homes. We've been through 3 or 4 of those already along the route. They bring all the veterans out to the street. We had one place in Amarillo where they bussed all of their veterans over to where we were parked and brought them through. We get to talk to them. They get to tell us their stories. And that's what this is all about. That's why we're doing this.
Okay. Well, we wish you well, and with very few breakdowns.
Yes.
And I think that your weather is going to be great. We've got a little rain predicted for today and tomorrow, but you know, military, you just keep right on.
We just keep right on moving. We don't let things bother us.
You do.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to go out. We're going to go and capture some of these vehicles on film so that it will air on our show.
Very good.
Thank you so much for coming to Grants and allowing us to serve you.
All right. Well, thank you again for accepting us into this community. It's been great.
Rochelle of First Street Cafe has been known as the Pie Lady for years. 2 years in a row, First Street Cafe has received the Best Dessert designation by the Grant-Cibola County Chamber of Commerce. Just a few of the breakfast items include quiche with fresh fruit, First Street's breakfast burrito, and check out the huge pancake. Lunch features a French dip sandwich with homemade potato salad. The special soup of the day and sandwich is sure to satisfy. First Street's chili bean soup is a crowd pleaser. The menu for breakfast and lunch offers a selection that will make your meal ever so special. Let's save room for dessert. Homemade coconut cream pie is a favorite, and it sells out quickly. Let's not forget the pecan pie and the cheesecake. Sugar-free desserts are available too. Rochelle and her staff welcome you to the best dessert in Cibola County. Plus, there's so much more to enjoy at First Street Cafe, located at 1600 West Santa Fe Avenue. For takeout orders, call 287-7111.
Oh no, maybe he'll give me a warning.
108 Regional. I'll be on a traffic stop.
10596.
I'm with the Cibola County Sheriff's Office. The reason I'm stopping you is because you weren't maintaining your lane. Do you have your driver's license, registration, and insurance with you today?
Yes, I do.
Sir, have you consumed any alcohol today?
No, I haven't.
I can smell alcohol coming from the vehicle, sir. Are you sure?
Okay, maybe I had 2 beers.
Sir, place your hands behind your back for me. I'm going to be placing you under arrest for DWI.
Welcome to this segment of Cibola Treasures. In our studio today is someone that is not a stranger to grants and Milan and Cibola County. I want to welcome you, Les Gaines, to Cibola Treasures.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Well, I think this is the first time we've ever had you on.
It is. You know, years ago I was interviewed across the street for Channel 10, but it has been a long time, so thank you for opening your doors and allowing me to be here today.
Well, it's a pleasure, because there are so many things that you do for our community, and I don't think that our heroes are recognized enough, and you are one of our heroes.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but you know, sometimes you kind of avoid these situations because you think, oh, I don't want to toot my own horn. So
right.
It's really our community. We're blessed to have so many good people in our community, and so many people I get to work with on a daily basis. And so we are just blessed all the way around. So sometimes you just kind of get people started and they take the ball and run, and we're blessed in our area.
That's right. Well, you've been involved in so many things, and you know, this Zuni Mountain Trails project has been going on for years and years. I was on the committee initially. I'm going to say it's been maybe 10 years ago.
And I believe you're right.
And we were just not making any progress, and I began to say, okay, I've got other things I need to do. This is a viable project, but we need to move it, and we were not getting it moved forward. But I understand that there's some things in the mill that you've been involved in and that you're privy to that you can share with our audience.
Yes, the Mount Taylor Zuni Mountain Collaborative is a group that kind of has spun off of the landscape team for the Forest Service Plan revision. And this group is a variety of different individuals that will volunteer their time. We meet, we work with the Forest Service. So there, you know, I set the agenda, or you would set the agenda, and then we work with the Forest Service and kind of help them move some projects along in the right direction. Now, the Zuni Mountain Trail System has been in the works for a long time, and it was actually almost ready to sign just before the collaborative was kicked off. So, you know, we can't take any credit for that, but it's finally moving ahead, and the project's going to be a number of miles in the Zunis, and it's going to start primarily in the Gallup site and work our way this direction.
Okay.
So it'll still take a little while, but next year we're going to have actually boots on the ground and shovels working. So I'm excited about that.
I am too. You know, I see what this has done for the community of Gallup.
Mm-hmm.
And we have been up there videotaping events. They have a competitive racing bicycle race every year. And then they do things in the Zuni Mountains. They do things, the dawn to dusk thing. So Gallup has become a focal point for biking.
Mm-hmm.
And we could be that too. I remember about 20 years ago, someone said to me one day at church, he said, you know, we don't have a store that deals with motorcycles or bikes.
Yes. And they haven't been able to survive.
That's right.
Right.
Right. And so hopefully this will create a new business that can survive, because these folks come in, they break a wheel or they need a replacement part. There's no one here in town that can help them.
Exactly. You know, and then in collaboration with the Zuni Mountain Trail System, you know, we're really excited that we're a gateway community for the Continental Divide Trail System.
Right.
So not only people walk the Continental Divide Trail, but they ride. And then there's another trail system that's called the Great Divide system that it parallels it, but it's for automotive transportation,
Right.
off-road vehicles or maybe off-road motorcycles, that type thing, and they kind of parallel the side of it. So all of those people are kind of funneled right through grants in
Right.
Milan and
Right.
the Cibola County area. And so I'm hoping that as time goes on, we'll be able to spin businesses and have a little success and be able to make money and increase our gross receipts volume. Not that we don't want to increase the tax, we want to increase the money coming in.
That's right, we do, don't we? But also there are equestrians that are involved in this.
Exactly, and we've been able to work out agreements there where the equestrian riders, the horse clubs in our area will be able to work, in tandem with the Zuni Mountain Trails, which is exciting.
It is really. And then there are those that just like to hike. So this would give us an opportunity to attract those bike enthusiasts, those that are hikers, those that are equestrians, and grants can be that starting place or ending place.
And we also have other projects for biking and hiking coming along. We have the River Rock Walk Trail. That's hard to say. It's like
Right,
a rabbit
it
in a
is.
wood.
Right.
The River Walk Trail that goes from the center of Grants and will go to the east side and to the north side. And we're working with the Forest Service to tie in, for lack of a better term, most people will know where that shooting range is, right up in Lubbock Canyon.
That's right.
So
Okay.
that's an unauthorized shooting range, but it's a shooting range. So we'll be able to tie all those areas in, and it'll be a hub there for local people to walk, to bike, to hike in all our local areas. So that is one of the Mount Taylor Zuni Mountain Collaboratives. It's called the Grants Trail System.
Right.
So that's an emphasis. And then within that, we have 3 bold mission thrusts that we're working on. That is one of them. The second one is for the equestrian riders to have along the Continental Divide Trail and the Zuni Mountain Trail System to have places to park their big horse trailers and have events.
Right.
So you've been to the rodeo grounds when
absolutely.
there is all kinds of trailers and there's not very much room. If you're trying to park up at the square in Lubbock Canyon Road,
Right.
that wouldn't work for the equestrian
Right.
events. So we're focusing on that. And then we have another emphasis that would be, that's a bold mission thrust, would be adding pavement to extend the forest road up towards Lamoska Peak. So
Right.
those are all the areas we're working on. And it will take a while, and I'm very impatient. And but I think we're moving in the right direction. The Forest Service is cooperative, BLM's cooperative, and so we're doing well. We're
Good,
doing well.
good. Well, I think it was said that if we paved up to Lamoska Peak, that we would have the highest traveled paved road in the state of New Mexico.
Yeah, we'd have the highest paved road in the state of New Mexico, the 5th highest in the United States. So we're still working on that, and that's still down the road. So we can't say that publicly, so you don't listen. But
Okay.
we're working on it, and we have a lot of hurdles to get over between now and then. We all know that it's a TCP. We all want to respect the sanctity of the mountain, and we want to do the right thing for all the people in our communities.
Sure, right. Well, tourism has never been a focus of grants, but we have some folks in our community that are saying tourism really We're not going to have the mines back. If we do get them back, they're not going to be the way that they were in the past. We've never focused on tourism and service to those tourists. And if we're going to bring the money into our community, we really need to be focusing on quality of service, quality of product, knowing all these things in our community that people want to go and see and do.
Well, you know, we just had in June or July, I don't remember, the Off-Road Alliance had a jamboree here. I don't remember when that was, you may recall, but it's the same time that we had the caching event.
Right.
The geocaching event. And I talked to one of the fellows up on the mountain. He said, you know, this is the best kept secret in New Mexico.
Right.
Our area. So, you know, it's kind of a balance. We want to keep it the best kept secret, or we want to share it with others, but we want to respect it and take care of it and manage it correctly. So,
right.
And bring new dollars. And all of those are new dollars. It's not our same, you know, dollars being reused over again. It's new dollars, exciting. It could, and I can see a vision for it in the future.
Well, you know, Coronado was looking for the 7 cities of gold, right? And for years I have said Cibola County is the treasure of New Mexico. We have more here in our county. Go around and look at the other counties. They may have 1 or 2 things that really stand out, but look at all that we have in our county. I can't see other counties having all that Cibola County has, and we've never capitalized on it.
You know, we have such rich cultural resources of Zuni to the south, the Navajo tribes to the east and the west, and Laguna and Acoma on each side of us to the east. You know, with El Malpai, we have San Mateo and all the land grant communities. We just have a great mix of people, and I think that's also a treasure.
It is
all the diversity that we have here, and that how we work together on lots of projects, and that how, you know, I can imagine, you know, the old county complex down there, if we had, you know, little pods of where each community was represented, like in a museum.
Like a museum.
And then we had vendors there. It would be so exciting.
Wouldn't
we
it be?
could showcase our community.
Well, this last week they had the feast day at Parahi. And I went. A friend of mine had never been to a Laguna or Acoma feast day. And there were like 50 vendors there. And I'm thinking, we've got to bring some of those, and when we bring the vendors in, guess what? They have people that follow them that want their families come. People want to buy their select products. And we need to be reaching out to those that would
sell and people that would buy.
That's right.
You know, and you can't say enough about Laguna Feast. I probably have an extra pound or 2 on just from the 19th of this year. It's a great time. I have such good friends down there. So all of those feast times are just festive times in our community. That, and if the listening audience hasn't been to any of the feasts in our area, they should put that on their to-do list.
It really is. You know, for 10 years I was the elder hostel coordinator at the college, and we attended the feast day, the big feast day in Laguna, at the old Laguna Village, and we parked the bus so that we could go as we needed to leave. We weren't in the middle, parked in the middle of a lot of cars and traffic and trucks and so forth. And I was walking down the hill toward the bus, and this man comes up to me and he said, "Come to my house and eat." Well, I've got 70 people with me, right? I said, well, first of all, I have these other people with me, and I need to confer with them. So the first question they asked was, because the bus was really parked almost across the street from his home, and it had been the first time he'd been able to have this open his home since his mother had died. It was honoring his mother, honoring his family. And so the first question they asked, well, what do we pay? And I said, not a thing. If you want to thank them, get their name, get their address, and send them a card. Because, you know, I come from the South, and we talk about Southern hospitality. It does not even come close to the hospitality that we have with our Acoma and Laguna neighbors.
Oh, and that's the truth. You know, and I have friends that I know and love in the communities, and they, you know, are eager to help me. And you know, I'll post something on Facebook, and they'll be the first people to respond. So we're so blessed in all areas in our area.
We are, truly. And then, of course, we've got the rich Hispanic heritage in our county too. And you mentioned land grants. You know, these go back to Spain and some Mexico, but most of them went back to Spain when the king awarded those land grants to for them to come and improve the land.
You know, can you imagine a heritage being tied here since the 1500s?
That's right.
You know, so some of our community members have their last name is written in those land grants, and that's you know, you've spent a lot of time with Mr. Pena, and he was very aware of all of that. And
absolutely,
yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
So we have the Zuni Mountain Trails project. We've got the Continental Divide Trail. We've got the Riverwalk Trails project, and in the far distant future, hopefully it's not too far in the future, but we've got the Mount Taylor project.
Yeah, the La Mosca project.
La Mosca, okay. So those are the things that are happening in our community. And grants, I've been saying, you know, years ago I did the impact study for Dr. Lees. Do you remember Dr. Lees?
I do.
I did the impact study for him, and one of the things I did was get the highway department to tell us how many people exited, how many vehicles exited at Grants. They discovered that most of those that exited at Grants were local. All the traffic was simply going right on down the highway to the Indian capital in Gallup or off to Flagstaff and coming the other way to Santa Fe. They weren't stopping here and leaving their money here. And if we're going to be the prosperous community that we can be, we need to capitalize on those things and make our community beautiful and strong and vibrant. And this geocaching, people come from all over the world.
All over the world.
All over the world to do it. I had never been out to the Limekiln Canyon. I wanted to go a while back, and I happened to go, and we videotaped some of that. And here were these people on horseback. They must have had about 6 or more trailers with their trucks, and they were going and doing stuff so that when the geocachers came in, they could find these little treasures that had been planted.
Well, the geocaching is almost a subculture. And for the audience that's not familiar with it, a geocache is a GPS coordinate of a little treasure. So it'd be kind of like old scavenger hunt type deal. But you can't take it. You're supposed to leave it or document it till you were there in it. They are all over everywhere. You know, there's one on the top of La Mosca Peak. There's some down by the, I think there's 17 or 18 in our community that you can look up. And the kids kind of had was it poking? What was that thing where they were following it all around?
Right. I recall.
Anyway, I'm sorry, I had a brain freeze. But the kids had something in the last couple of years that were very similar. But the geocaching's been around for years, a whole subculture, and consistently we see people finding the cache there at the park and documenting, and then away they go.
Right, right. And so if you want to be, I understand that last year there were 3 locations. This coming year there are going to be all 7 because it's the something of gold that they've
7 trails of gold.
7 trails of gold. And so there are going to be 7 locations this year for geocaching. And if you want to volunteer for that project, just contact Grants Main Street. They're involved. That's their project. And this is exciting to see this.
It is exciting. And I'm glad you mentioned volunteering, because you know, I'm involved in a lot of committees in our community, and we see the same workhorses all the time. They're the same people on the same committees. And you know, we've heard the 80-20 rule.
Right.
And if we could bump up to where we had a few more people volunteering in our community, the people that are at home, they think there's nothing to do in Grants. There is lots to do if you're ready to volunteer and help. And then once you get involved, there's that self-fulfillment. You feel better inside, and you can continue to feel better about yourself and the community. But we always need more volunteers for just about every group that I'm involved with.
Well, I have said for years, a volunteering community is a strong community because not only do you develop friendships that last for years, but you learn so many things about your community and about how that organization functions and what they need. And I look around and I see, mention those same people that continue to volunteer and make things happen. But we have some historic events here in our community. For example, the rodeo, the oldest in the state of New Mexico. We have the oldest speedway in the state of New Mexico.
Yes.
We have these things that we don't promote and encourage, but we need to as individuals.
As
we
individuals.
need to. Right, we do.
You know, the quad, I think, is the 37th or 38th year this year. I don't remember which one it is.
I thought it was 35. I may be wrong.
I may be wrong too. But it's been around a long time. We always need volunteers. It's such a good thing for our community. There are between 300 and 400 participants that usually visit 2 to 3 times prior to the race. So so you can multiply that times whatever, and they bring their families. During the summer, I visited people on Mount Taylor and La Mosca up there that participate in the quad. So it is a good thing. We always use volunteers for the quad.
That's right.
And it's in February.
Right. Yeah, President's Weekend. Okay. Well, Les, is there anything else you want to share with our audience?
No, but I appreciate the time that you've taken with me. I think that your show is good for our community. I see it in nearly every motel and hotel that we have, and it's running sometimes around the clock for them. So it's a good outreach. So keep up the good work. This gentleman behind the camera has done a great job for I don't want to say how many years, but he's doing a great job. We appreciate him a lot.
Well, we refer to him as our genius.
He is a genius.
Because he does so many things. And we are grateful to him for that, and grateful to you for the message that you bring to our community.
Well, thank you. Thank you all.
You're welcome. And thank you for tuning in to this segment of Cibola Treasures.
The United States Air Force has a proud history of leading our nation in embracing diversity. We've been reaching new heights for years by understanding it's our individual experiences which make us strong. You can share in this success by seeking opportunities to learn and grow as a member of a diverse team. We are the world's greatest Air Force, not because of what we do, but who we are. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Vision loss is not something that you feel until it happens.
Most people lose their vision from diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma, not at birth.
With macular degeneration, you lose your central vision.
You have a blind spot right in the center of your face, so I can't actually see your face.
So even that little circle in which I could see became a big blur.
I was 65 when I first was diagnosed with glaucoma.
There were no symptoms. I had no headaches.
3 million Americans have glaucoma, and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
You lose mobility, independence, changes your entire life.
So many eye disorders can be treated if caught early.
My husband tells me that I have beautiful brown eyes, and I don't want to lose that.
Make a plan today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
Drownings are a leading cause of death for young children. Simple safety steps are the best way to prevent these tragedies. Make sure kids learn how to swim. Always watch them in and around water. Properly fence all pools and stay away from drains. Consider the steps you take, then add a few more. Because you never know which pool safety step will save a life until it does. Simple steps save lives. To learn some new ones, visit poolsafely.gov.
Just a reminder, we videotape the City Council meeting and Coffee with the Managers in addition to this program that we have here, and it can be seen not only on Channel 10, but it also can be seen on our website. That's www.sevencitiesproductions.com. So if you want to stay up to date with the things that are happening and you don't have time to watch TV, but you could go into our website, please do that. We're so thankful that you are here with us today. And remember, this is fall. Enjoy this beautiful weather. Thank you for tuning in.